गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. All the problems begin from us. We are the source of all problems, and all the problems dissolve in us. So unless we focus attention on ourselves, there is no way out. Normally what happens, whether we are leading a material life or we are leading spiritual life, our attention is always on everything except ourselves. For example, the material life. If I am a father, the cause of my misery is my children. If I am a husband, the cause of my misery is my wife. These equations are so standardized, and thereafter our attention is on changing the people around us. Till nobody could change anybody in this world. Bhagwan Sri Krishna could not change Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra. And we imagine, हम दुनिया को बदल डालेंगे, we will change the world, forget about it. Those who have come to save this world, they were shaved off. The world is as it is. And yet we imagine that we have to change the people. We have to do something good to the people. Those who cannot do good to themselves, can they do good to others? Those who cannot earn money for themselves out of selfishness, can we think about a person who can give money to others? Impossible. This is in the material world. Now in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, we focus attention on everything that we बीच में मेरा गला खराब. So, in the spiritual world, what we do? This is a very important topic, please be very attentive. We get caught up in cause and effect relationship. When we get caught up in cause and effect relationship, we are taken away from ourselves. Because where is the cause and effect relationship established? Only in the intellect. Intellect cannot function without cause and effect. And thus we call some event as effect. And when we call some event as effect, it becomes our responsibility to find out the cause for that effect. Actually, it was an event. When you take the life's experiences as events and don't unnecessarily waste your time, but why this happens only with me? Many people have this problem. And then they get lost only in logic, cause, effect, changing the world. And therefore, such people become argumentative. So those who become argumentative, they cannot tread the spiritual path. They are all the time lost in their own creation. And such people, when they come to the Mahatmas, they don't ask anything about the Lord. They have got everything to be asked about everything except the Lord. But the basic principle is, you cannot make your homes on a bridge. Either you be in this or in that. But we get lost only on the bridges. Whether this path is better or that path is better. Now take a beautiful example of our Bhagavad Gita. Those who are following the path of knowledge, like Bhagwan Shankaracharya and others, they will say that Bhagavad Gita talks only about knowledge. Rute jnananna mukti. They will say without knowledge there is no liberation. One person. Second person. Those who are following the path of devotion, they say whole Bhagavad Gita talks only of devotion. The third kind of people who are extremely involved in activities, they will say the whole Bhagavad Gita talks only about karma, karmanyevadhikaraste. They quote only 1 quarter because 3 quarters they don't know. Those who take always 1 quarter, very dangerous. Narayan. So, they will be talking about only karma. Now those who are following the path of yoga, they will say Bhagavad Gita talks nothing except yoga. In short, what we do? We don't see the things as they are. First we decide, I have to see this, and then I start seeing the world. This prejudice and biasness which colors our vision is the cause of creating all the problems in our life. And this is how our case, Arjuna's case, wherein instead of straight away going to the war front and fighting and starting your war, he started arguing, logic, frustrated, depressed, dejected, confused. When such a person starts working in this world, he is not only himself miserable, but he makes everybody equally miserable. Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I am equal to everybody. Only I don't remain miserable. I make everybody miserable. Now, in such a person's life, if this thing happens, and what is that? We discover some altar, we discover somebody before whom we don't argue. One individual, living being, just implicitly follow. And then you will see slowly, we will rise above the shackles of the intellect. And the moment you rise above the shackles of intellect, your perception, your vision will have a tremendous change. And this is how Arjuna surrenders before the Lord and says, "O Lord, I totally surrender to you. Kindly instruct me. Unless we are ready to receive instruction, no Mahatma will guide you." Normally we go to the Mahatmas for discussion and argument. The other day, I was somewhere and I saw one picture of one Amma, Satsang conducting. When I looked at her picture, I liked it. I said, "Hey, see how sweet she is." So the person who was driving me, he said, "Swamiji, that Amma is very much here." I said, "Let's go and take darshan." So after my lectures, I went and she was having satsang. I sat backside. She said, no, come ahead. Then the same standard formalities. He is so and so, he is so and so. I said, "Already you continue, I just want to sit and listen." She said, no, our satsang is routine thing. Now kindly let us have Shastrartha. Let us discuss about the truth. I said, "Amma, you can have Shastrartha with the wise people. I am otherwise. I have come here to take your darshan. You bless me. And I like you very much, therefore I came." No, but I want to do Shastrartha. I said, "What Shastrartha?" I know nothing. How can you do? We get caught up all these things. So when Arjuna has thus said, then the reporter, the great Sanjaya, he tells, how should we report? The art of journalism is beautifully presented in Bhagavad Gita. The difference between the reports made by Sanjay or Bhagwan Vedavyasa and others is this. The other day somebody asked me this question, Swamiji, you people talk so much about your Hinduism, and see what is written in Mahabharata. All dirty things happened. I said, that's why it is pure. It is not adulterated. Bhagwan Vedavyasa has written what has happened. It is not an imaginary composition of James Hadley Chase. It is, that is why it is called as Itihas. Itihas, a book of history. And this is what has happened. And on the basis of that historical account, now you analyze. And that is why Mahabharata has the status of the scriptural authority. And in that Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita comes. So when this thing was happening, so Sanjay now reports to his boss, Dhritarashtra, that when this Arjuna has thus surrendered, to him what happened further? Sanjaya Vacha, Eva Muktva Rishikesham Gudakesha Parantapa Na Yotsepi Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babuvaham Tamuvacha Rishikeshaha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayor Ubhayor Madhe Vishidantamidam Vachaha. Most wonderful statement. He says, in this manner, O Parantapa, O great warrior, king, he Dhritarashtra, in this manner Arjuna said before the Lord, that I am utterly confused. I know not what should be done, whether we should win or they should win. Everything is such a chaotic condition. I don't know whether I should fight the war, whether I should kill my grandfather and teacher or not. And thus, having said, accepted his confusion, he surrendered before the Lord, and this is the best example of delusion. Delusion and illusion, these are two words. Delusion is in our mind. As a result of delusion, what we see is illusion. See? When we are deluded, and with that delusion we look at the world, we don't see the reality. So, this deluded Arjuna has said that, O Lord, kindly instruct me, I am thy disciple. And after having said this, but I am not going to fight the war. Once he has said, I am totally surrendered, you instruct me, except don't ask me to fight the war. Then on the battlefield, Bhagwan Krishna will say, Acha, chai le aao. Think. Many times we have this funny kind of delusion that, Swamiji, I am doing so much of sadhana, nothing happens. To whom? The other day somebody asked me this question. Swamiji, in the flight only I was coming from somewhere. Swamiji, I have been listening to you on the TV many times, and I was always wanting to ask you some question. It's good I caught hold of you. I said, okay, ask. We were high in the air. So his question was, Swamiji, in this inquiry, who am I? Who is asking who? Who am I is an inquiry, is a question. So who is asking who? I said, one fool is asking to another fool. Ubhau taun vijanitaha nayam antinanyate. See, this inquiry, who am I, is meaningful only under one condition. If you have accepted yourself to be someone other than the gross body, then only this question becomes valid. So, When Arjuna thus said that I surrender, kindly instruct me, but I am not going to fight the war. Eva mukta rishikesham gudakesha parantapa na yotsya iti govindam uktva na yotse. I shall not fight the war. Now see the total thought from the first chapter till now. Under delusion, Arjuna has taken a decision that etan hantumichhami gnatopi madhusudana. Oh Lord, I do not want to kill these people even if I am killed. He has taken a decision. And before that he says that brahmati vachame manaha. I am unable to think properly. So you have taken a decision under total delusion. And thereafter you argued so much. Like devil quoting the scriptures. Bhagavan doesn't know what is dharma, what is adharma. So he has been teaching the whole Dharma Shastra to the Lord. And after having got the bashing from the Lord, Klaibyam masmagama partha, don't be an impotent, live like a dynamic person. After having gone through all that treatment, again, I am so confused, I don't know, I am the disciple, now you tell me what I should do, but don't ask me to fight the war. See, most of us, when we go to the Mahatmas, there are 2-3 purposes. First thing, we want to tell something, we don't want to listen. Once it happened in Vrindavan, there used to be a great saint, Udiya Baba, a Siddha Purush, a great master. And one erudite scholar from Varanasi happened to come there. And he went and met that Mahatma and said, Sir, I have got something to ask you. He said, okay, ask. After that, he gave a lecture for 1.5 hours. And after that lecture was over, then he said, I see, actually I don't have time, but now you tell me. So that great master said, you don't have anything to ask. You have come to tell me. This is one thing. Arjuna was telling, he was not asking. And therefore, we do not get right answers. Second thing, many a times we go and talk to the Mahatmas to get their vote. See, I have gone to so many Mahatmas and they told me, you are almost realized. Now the Mahatmas want to get rid of. Okay, get lost. Instead of saying get lost, to a samsari, get lost. To a seeker, get realized. Very, very important. So, this Arjuna, when was thus living in a foolish manner, he wanted to tell the Lord, not listen to him. Friends, please remember, those who are having these two qualities, they alone can progress in their life, materially or spiritually. Quality number 1, readiness to change yourself. Quality number 2, the ability to change yourself. Normally what happens? We go to the Mahatmas. Mahatmaji, now I am ready to change. Uta. I am not wanting to put any efforts. So only readiness is not enough. We should be able to change. The second alternative is, see, actually I want to change, but I just cannot. What should I do? So this halfway will never help us. So when Arjuna was thus wanting to get vote from the Lord and to get sympathy, weaklings always demand sympathy from the world and super weaklings demand recognition from the world. Two things. Weaklings have accepted their weakness. Therefore they demand sympathy. Super weaklings don't accept their weakness and then they demand recognition from the world. I have done so much for you. What you have given me? I have loved you so much. That love which is spoken, it is a bargain. It was an investment. Love is never spoken in terms of words. But our Western approach is write down on a paper. I love you. A written statement. And this written statement is concluded by another written statement. Thank you. Over. Therefore, never, if you want to keep your relations with anybody, particularly Mahatmas, do not thank the Mahatmas. The moment you thank a Mahatma, you have closed the chapter. Swamiji, thank you, you have come. That means don't come again. So, when Sanjay was explaining the condition of Arjuna, Nayotse iti govinda muktva tushkim babuvaha. Then after he became silent. Now, another important point. Unless we learn the art of keeping our mouth shut, wisdom will not come to us. Why wisdom doesn't come to us? Because we are constantly retaliating. About everything we have got opinions. About everything we have got very strong views. About everything we have to say something, good or bad. About everything we have to put a label. And as a result, all these categories put the reality away. So, when this happened to such a Arjuna, Bhagwan Sri Krishna spoke. Tamuvacha Rishikeshaha prahasanniva bharata. Rishikeshaha means the Lord. Who is the Lord? He who has absolute control over himself is the Lord. Please understand, this is very important. Let us not search God on the or above the clouds. The Lord is very much seated in our heart, provided all our faculties are under our control. When our senses are under our control, when our mind is under our control, when our body is under our control, when our activities are under our control, when our thoughts are under our control, then absolute lordship over the matter is called as God realization. How simple it is. If we have that, and that is all we have to do. But normally what happens? We want to control others. You cannot control anybody in this world unless you have control yourself. So, Rishikeshaha, the Lord who has absolute control over himself. We are shattered and disintegrated through senses, through organs of actions, through emotional poverty, and through intellectual arrogance. As a result, we are shattered here and there. Such a person cannot have a pleasing disposition. But the one who has got complete lordship over all the matter, such a person alone can smile in life. And therefore here the teacher is telling, Tamuvacha Rishikeshaha prahasan iva bharata. Hey Dhritarashtra Maharaj, Bhagwan Sri Krishna spoke to that crying, despondent, dejected, frustrated Arjuna with a smile on his face. Please understand the message of Bhagavad Gita. If you want to really achieve something in life, two things are necessary. I probably mentioned to you yesterday. How you dress and how you address. Very important in life. Never have that funny kind of notion. Simple living, high thinking. It is more stupid living and super stupid thinking. It's not that. So how we dress, how we address. If we present ourselves in a proper manner, automatically our mood is different. Take an example. If there is a police and he wants to control the traffic. So while controlling the traffic, instead of his normal routine uniform, the pant and the shirt and the cap, whatever it is, instead of that, he is standing there with a check lungi. And then he says, Muh mein pan, ruku jao re, rukwa. Our Bihar. Motorwa, rukwa. How you dress is very important. Second thing, how you address. Your makeup in the dressing is incomplete unless you wear a smile on your face. Only those people can smile who have full control over themselves. The other day, 2-3 days before, somebody came to meet me. After talking, I said, you know what I'm feeling like? What is that? I said, you know, when you let us take your lungi, wash it, and then you squeeze out. And when you squeeze out, you see how much water is down. I said, I am feeling like I should take you, squeeze you out, and I can feel how many thoughts are falling down. Frustration, anger, Can't we be relaxed? Swamiji, the moment you tell me be relaxed, I become tense. How to relax? Most wonderful this world is. So, how we dress, your dress makeup is incomplete without wearing a smile. So this is the first message. If you want to be successful in life, this is the scientific truth. Those who can laugh at themselves and smile at the world, nobody can defeat them. Normally what happens? The other way around. We laugh at others and smile at ourselves. And if we are able to smile at the world, what happens? Your face value increases. Isn't it? So, prahasan iva bharata, the first thing. Second thing, whenever you deal any subject with this attitude, you have already conquered the problem. There is a friend of mine in Delhi, very nice man. He has this refrain. Refrain in Hindi means takiya kalam. Some people have that habit. Anything you say, they will start, you see, I see. They have nothing to see, nothing to show, but they say, you see. So this friend of mine, he has one refrain. Koi dikkat nahi. There is no problem. Anything you say, he begins, there is no problem. And then he starts thinking. So when you have this attitude in life, that there is nothing in this world which can destroy me. With this attitude, when you look at the world, the problems become very small. Friends, the problems of the world become big and strong because we become small and weak. The strength in the worldly problems is borrowed from our weaknesses. If you are strong, the world can never bow you down. That's why this attitude is very essential. So to that frustrated Arjuna, Bhagavan Sri Krishna started prahasan iva bharata. Now imagine, suppose you go to some Mahatma. Like, suppose somebody comes to me. Swamiji, I don't know, I'm so frustrated. Actually, my wife really troubles me and I do not know how to deal with. Will you please tell me? And he's crying. And after listening to him, I also start crying. Actually, you are suffering because of wife. I am also suffering. You have wife, therefore you suffer. I don't have wife, therefore I suffer. Think. When you go to somebody to solve the problem, we expect that he is above all the problems. Yesterday, after I went, where I was taking food at night, my cell started ringing. Good evening, sir. This is Air India. We have selected you for a special trip to Goa. You and your wife. Continued. After all that was over, I said, thank you very much for the offer. I will like one thing more from you. Along with the ticket, kindly staple a wife. I don't have. So, you do something and then only I can go. So whenever we go to somebody, we have this expectation that the person to whom we have gone, he is strong enough. And if we are not strong enough, we have done the highest crime. So when Arjuna was thus asking the Lord, Bhagavan looked at the whole situation of Arjuna and started a smile on his face. Then he started talking. It is something like this. If you want to see practical demonstration of this, you go to any hospital in emergency ward. In emergency ward, every case is emergency case. And the doctors and nurses, they are so seasoned that they are always sthita-pragya, undisturbed. And we who take the patient, we are so serious. See, the doctor is not doing anything. And the doctor knows there is nothing wrong. Wait for some time, everything will be alright. Either you will go here or you go there. You know, in Goa, there is, in Madgaon, there is one government hospital. And exactly opposite the hospital is the graveyard. And the road goes in between. So, yad gatva nani vartante. And that road ends in such a manner that there are only two options. Either go here or go there. There is a cul-de-sac. There is a blind end. You can't go ahead. So, when Bhagavan saw his problem, Prahasan iva bharata uvacha rachikeshaha. Bhagavan thus spoke. And to whom senayor ubayor madhe vishidantam idam vachaha. To him who was in the midst of the most challenging period of his life, senayor ubayor madhe, and frustrated. Friends, you can imagine the tragedy of Bhagavan Sri Krishna. I remember many times some people ask, Swamiji, you are all the time ha ha hu hu. Do you become miserable sometime? Do you become sorrowful? I said many times. Why sometimes? Can you tell us when? When my joke goes flat, then I become really miserable. And super miserable I become. After that, a question is asked about the joke. Then what happened? I feel like committing suicide. Now imagine that Lord who is all happiness, who is all cheer. And remember, as many problems Bhagavan Sri Krishna has faced in his life, we all put together cannot even think of facing the problems. One example. Bhagavan had 16,108 wives. Face? You will be defaced. And yet he smiled. And therefore he is Bhagavan. So, such a cheerful, jolly person, his friend is crying constantly. How much pathetic he must be feeling. And many people have got this funny notion, I am the great devotee of the Lord. So who is the devotee of the Lord? Constantly crying? No. If you are the devotee of the Lord, you must match with his face. Very simple principle. My shirt and lungi, they are matching. Isn't it? So when shirt and lungi should match, shouldn't the devotee and the Lord match each other? Therefore, there is nothing in this world which can justify that you are miserable. Refuse to be miserable. The divinity in you will start surfacing. All spiritual sadhana, Whether you take the Lord's name or sing a filmy song. Whether you go to a temple or you go around Shivaji Park, it makes no difference. What is important is how you are. That is important. And therefore, to that frustrated Arjuna, this cheerful Lord thus said. Now the Lord starts. If you want to see number of jokes in Bhagavad Gita, first of all, you have to increase your WQ. You must have known the word IQ. The other day, I was in Sydney or Melbourne somewhere. And there, they have got many restaurants. And one thing is very popular there. Like we have got here, Irani ki chai ki dukan. Like that. There is one type of restaurant, barbecue restaurant. So that barbecue is such a long spelling. So they have abbreviated nationally BBQ restaurant. When I read that first time, I started laughing. So my friend said, Swamiji, what is the joke? I said, see, it is written there. BBQ, when restaurant hai to. When there is restaurant, why get married? This is the message, and yet you people get married. So, if you want to see and discover the jokes in Bhagavad Gita, you have to increase your WQ. WQ is the wit quotient. There is a difference between joke, wit and humor. Jokes are something which you have prepared. Like many people, when they go for the management lectures, they prepare jokes and give the lectures jokes. Some people, when you go for the various marriage parties, then they prepare and go, share shairi. Some people, when they go for this Lions Club, Tigers Club, so they have to go and speak on the stage. Therefore, they prepare many jokes and all that. In between, they spice their speech by the various jokes. So they prepare 1001 jokes. That is called a joke which is not coming from within, which is pumped on you from outside, like a perfume. Andar mein Ram Krishna Hare. Now, the second one is wit. Wit is the ability to see the absurdity in the seeming normal things. That is called as wit. Like the other day I told you, one Mr. Guptaji was honored. How come you are married for last 50 years and you never fought? What is the secret? So Guptaji tells the secret. Secret is very simple, sir. She goes her way, I go her way. Normally that way of presentation is such as if she goes her way, I go my way. But then my is replaced by her and the whole situation changes. Wit and humor. When you are able to live with that wit all the time in your life, you are humorous. In the presence of such a person, you never become tense. You remain relaxed. So this great thing is available in Bhagavad Gita in and through, provided we have the ability to increase our WQ. Now, Bhagavan says to Arjun, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Ashochananva shochastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gata suna gata cha nanushyanti panditaha. ये अंग्रेज कहाँ चला गया? इसको जोक समझ में नहीं आया. अच्छा महाराज. So Bhagavan says, Arjun, you are talking like a wise man. What does it mean? You are otherwise. When you tell somebody, I thought you are intelligent. Means what? You are Mahabuddhu. Prajna Vadamsya Mahashase. You are talking like a wise man. And who is the wise person? Gatasuna gatasuscha nanu chochanti panditaha. Wise person is he who does not grieve in life. Wisdom and grief, they are antitheses. They cannot stand together. And for what we suffer in life, for what we grieve? For two things. When people die, we are miserable. We are also miserable when people don't die. See the joke. Many times, when we go to people's house, somebody is ill. And they say, Swamiji, now we do not know. We are only praying, Lord, that we cannot see her suffering anymore. Mane maro. It is not that she is suffering. It is I am suffering. Because of her, I am tied down in a log. I just can't go anywhere. So, gatasuna gatasuscha nanu shochanti panditaha. A wise person is he who does not grieve for any gain or loss in life, whatever may happen. And you are talking like a wise man. This is the difference between philosophy and wisdom. Wisdom freely available for others is called as philosophy. Philosophy practiced in life and lived in life is called as wisdom. Bhagwan Sri Krishna was wise. Arjuna was talking philosophy. And you know how philosophy comes out from us? Under following conditions. First, when we are frustrated and we do not accept our frustration and we want to glorify our frustration with the ornaments of wonderful words. So, frustration ornamented with wonderful words is called as philosophy. All what Arjuna spoke was a great philosophy, but it was only frustration within. So, gatasuna gatasuscha nanu shochanti panditaha. Friends, there is one option for us. Whether miseries will come in our life or not, there is no option. When miseries have to come, they come. But option is, after the miseries have come in our life, whether we should become miserable or not. That choice is yours. This is a fundamental rule of existence. All those who are miserable, they have chosen to be miserable. Now when you have chosen to be miserable, why blame others? There was an ignorant person, illiterate, got a lot of money from nowhere, and then he took his wife to a big hotel. And after having gone there, now that big book of menu comes. Now he doesn't know what is written, how to order and all that. He looks here and there. Before wife, you cannot tell that I don't know. You know, the most miserable, insulting experience for a man is when the wife recognizes his reality. So he wanted to hide that. So, when after some time that bearer came, he just, come here. Somewhere he put his finger, not knowing what it is. And went, yes sir, he went and came back with 2 big boiled potatoes. You know, if you go to Europe, we have wheat, bread, rice, idli as our staple diet. There people eat potato as staple diet. So this fellow went and ordered potatoes came. When potatoes came, wife said, we have come all the way from India to eat potatoes. I like it. What else can you do? Okay. And then he was frustrated, looking around. What to do, what to do. Then he sees the next person is having nice chicken. And then he was just waiting. And those people say, repeat their order. And now he said, now I know. And again the bearer comes, sir, repeat. And after the repeat order is repeated, instead of the chicken leg, again the potato rolls, here I am. Now, going to hotel and you have ordered potatoes, now don't become miserable. In this world we all have come. Be attentive to celebrate life. We have not come in this world to be miserable. Misery is an ugly scar on the divine manifestation. That is not real. But when we are accustomed to be miserable, such people cannot tolerate happiness. We all live at a particular level of miseries, disturbances, tensions. Take an example. The other day somebody told me in Shimla, Swamiji, some of our relations came from Bombay to stay here and they have got a very nice house far away from the Shimla city. And they came 2-3 days. How nice, how beautiful, how nice the sunrise, how nice the sunset, and the birds and the in Bombay near a railway track. Those who are constantly exposed to noise, they cannot tolerate silence. Many people have this problem. Swamiji, we can't sit for meditation because we have trained ourselves. All the time, Dalal Street. How can you tolerate silence? And then we blame the Lord. And oh Lord, why you made me miserable? Please remember, God never makes anybody miserable. We are miserable by our own choice. So, whenever we are miserable, you clearly understand. You have tick mark potato. No, don't blame others. You have tick mark there. Again, after some time, another event comes. Again, repeat. Suffer. Nobody will help you. So, gatasuna gatasunshcha nanushocanti panditaha. If you take this one principle today with you, you have learned total scientific art of living. This is only one principle. Refuse to be miserable. When you refuse to be miserable, you don't have to become happy. You are already there. And therefore the Lord starts. Arjuna, you are talking like a wise man, but you are fool of the highest order. Because fools only cry. Fools only grieve. Gatasuna gatasuscha nanushocanti panditaha. Those who are wise, they do not grieve, they do not cry, they are not frustrated. Gatasuna gatasuscha nanushocanti panditaha. In Bhagavad Gita, you will come across many definitions. Here is the definition of a wise man. A wise man is not the one who has got the tailor-made wisdom. You put on the ochre cloth and you become a Babaji. That is not possible. Or you have the various signs of wisdom. Either have a full stop, or you have the trident, or you have railway crossings. Nothing to do. Wisdom is expressed as absence of miserable entity in you. As simple as this. How to come out of it? A simple technique a great saint has told. He says he was the guru of Shivaji Maharaj, the great king of India. He says, "O mind, find out in this world, who is there who doesn't have miseries in life? When everybody have miseries in life, we are one of them." Like take an example. If we are miserable because of our wife or husband, we should not become miserable, because there is no species called as happy wife and happy husband. It is not possible. So if you are miserable, come on, I am in a general pool. There is nothing to worry about. So gata suna gata suscha nanu shochanti pandita. Now, all the argument which Arjuna has put forward, hereafter the most wonderful thing called as common sense wisdom begins. On the contrary, wisdom is nothing but common sense in action is called as wisdom. Very simple thing. First, who is wise? He who refuses to be miserable is wise. Can you imagine? Swami Vivekananda has gone to the World Parliament of Religion, and he was invited to speak before that terrible August-September crowd. I never understand why they called August, why not September crowd. So, he was there standing, and when he has to start his lecture, he starts crying, "I don't know I will be able to talk or not. I have never given a lecture." Will we call him a big man? No. Wisdom always expresses as fearlessness, confidence, inspiration, lack of miserable identification. That is what is called as life. So, all the points which Arjuna has raised, now here, first was common sense. Now second common sense. Nat vevaham jatunasam natvam neme janadipaha nachayvana bhavishyamaha sarve vayamataha param. Arjun, you are talking constantly. All these people will be killed in this war. And then there will be such a big chaos. Who told you that if you don't kill people, don't die? And who told you these people were absent earlier? And who told you they will be absent later? No, this is very important principle. This is the common cry from the frustrated people walking the spiritual path. Please remember, spiritual path cannot be walked by the dropouts of life. Spiritual path is walked only by those who have guts, inspiration, and love for something higher. Those who are dropouts of life, they become Babaji and do nothing in their life, constantly demanding recognition from the world. So, here, these three things have to be very clearly understood. One frustrated spiritual fellow once came and asked, "Swamiji, I have been hearing you all the time about Bhagwan, Bhagwan, Bhagwan. Isn't it a time for Bhagwan to take the avatar and come in this world? So much of chaos, terrorism going on everywhere. When is he going to descend?" So I asked him, why should he take now? There's still worse to come. I don't think there can be anything worse than this. Now analyze in this statement. Earlier, before you were born, it was not worse according to you. Because now it is the worst. Afterwards, also there won't be worse than this, according to you. This is the time when it is awfully worse. And this is the time you are present. So who is the cause of today's condition? It is you. So first you change and then everything will be set right. And when we start changing, understand the Lord has descended on the earth. In the 4th chapter we will see when it comes. When the Lord says, "Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata." Whenever the righteousness falls, righteousness never falls. Then those who are walking the path of righteousness, when they have doubt in the very principle of righteous living, when that doubt crops up in the hearts of the people walking the spiritual path, that time the Lord descends in the form of regaining confidence on the righteousness in life. That is called as descent of the divinity in our own hearts. Therefore, here the Lord says, go on imagining. And this is how many of us waste our time in this imagination. During earlier time, our time, things were so nice. But now it is so bad. How long will you go on hanging to your past? Who cares about our past? Friends, why we are not accepted by the younger generation is only for this reason. All the time we bring our past. They are interested in their future. And we bring our dead past. Who is interested in digging the dead bodies? Postmortem is useless for the dead body. Very important. But we are all the time thinking in that dilapidated condition of understanding. In earlier days, the things were different. We used to go with only handful of coins and we used to get the whole gunny bag full of goods. Now we go with the gunny bag full of money, we get handful of things. What do you have attained by making this statement? Nothing. Imagining the dead past. Therefore, this is one very important thing. Don't go on imagining. Earlier it was like that. What will happen in the future? Everything is as it is. Nobody has ever died. Nobody is ever going to die. This is one of the most basic principles of our Hinduism. If you understand this principle, you will refuse to be miserable, even if anybody may try. What is the principle? Whatever we are today, it is the result of our own past actions. For example, if we sow the seeds of mango, tomatoes will not hang on the tree. In the same manner, whatever is coming to us in our life as joys and sorrows, these are the seeds we have sown in our past earlier existence. That means what? We were present. We were never absent. And whatever good and bad we are doing today, don't think you can deceive the Lord. Everything has to be accounted for. There is no misappropriation. Not possible. So whatever good or bad we do today, we will have to pay it in this very world. And most important thing, everything has got a different gestation length. Gestation length is a period between cause and effect. That length is called a gestation length. So some actions are such which yield the results immediately. Some actions are such which require a long period to mature and gain the results. So those bad actions are good actions of ours, which cannot fructify during this lifetime. For the fructification of those actions and the results, we have to take the next life. This is the principle. Now what do we understand from this principle? We existed before this body was born. We exist in the present body. And we continue to exist after this wretched body is destroyed. The moment you hold on to this principle, you will become fearless. Friends, it is not only for us, it's for everybody. Now what you have done in this understanding, you have broken the sound barrier. when the jets go and cross the sound barrier, there is such a big bang. That big bang is called as divine happiness. When you go beyond the barrier of birth and death, and it is the most simplest thing in life. Therefore, Arjun, you are all the time arguing. So many people have come, they will die, and after they die, when I start taking my rice, it will have the sprinkling of the blood of them, and how will I enjoy? In this world, how many have died, so many have gone again. This is not the first time people are dying. See, the other day I went somewhere, one person asked me this question, Swamiji, please help me, how can I get out of attachment for my child? I said, attachment is the result of foolishness. Give up foolishness, attachment will go. What is the foolishness? I said, foolishness is, you tell me, how much you listen and respect to your mother and father? Swamiji, I won't speak lies to you, but I never listen to them. I said, I will tell you the truth. The same thing will be repeated between you and your son. This is eternal game going on. But we imagine that I may not listen to my parents, but my children should listen to me. And this foolishness is called as attachment. Just get out of it. How many of us have thought coolly? Never. And under that foolishness we imagine that, see, I do so much for somebody. Nobody does anything for anybody. Therefore, natvevaham jatunasa natvam neme janadipaha. There never was a time when all these kings who have come to fight the war on the battlefield, never was a time when they were not there. Never will be a time when they will not be there. This is the eternal game of death and birth, success and failure, continuously, eternally going on. And then, nachaivana bhavishyamaha sarve vayamataha param. And so is true for every one of us. Now see the whole picture. This is the most simplest thing. If you follow this one thing, fear will disappear from your heart. And when fear disappears, then you start living life. Life lived with an element of fear is called as living death. Constantly afraid. I don't know what is going to happen. I am afraid whether I will go there or not. I am afraid what will happen. This fearfulness itself is death. So, and those who are wise people, they are not afraid of anything. But please remember that fearlessness is not foolishness. I was talking about fearlessness and foolishness in one of the children's camp. And after we spoke, then we gave them a kind of competition. What we have learned, now let us have a cartoon drawing competition to emphasize this principle, what is taught. So different children draw different drawings, and the first prize we gave to one child. Most intelligent presentation of this. Difference between fearlessness and foolishness. One first cartoon. A boy, not naturally children, so a boy. I am fearless. First cartoon. Second cartoon. A truck is coming. He continues. No, I am fearless. Truck goes over him. He becomes flat. From there, the third cartoon says, I think it was not fearless, it was foolishness. I should have tried a car first. The moment you understand this principle of life, we see life is so beautiful. So, now to make this point, the teacher goes further. He says, Dehinosmin yatha dehe Kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptihi dhiras tatra namuhyati. Tatra dhiraha namuhyati. A wise person, dhira means the one who carries the weapon of intellect, but who he is not, the slave of intellect. Please understand this. The weapon of intellect is that usage of our faculty of logic in such a manner that we come out of the chaotic condition of our own wrong thinking. And when we are the slave of our own intellect, we go on thinking in such a manner that we create a cocoon around us and we create a self-pitying situation, and then we start feeling, I am so miserable. Both are the results of the same intellect. One kind of thinking takes you out of your own commotion. Other kind of thinking makes you a victim of your own thoughts. Dhira is that who lives intelligently but not remaining as a slave of intelligence. Dhiraha tatra namuhyati. The wise man is never deluded. How? He gives a very systematic thing. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara. The embodied and the body, two things. Like the car and the owner of the car. These are two different things. So, I buy a car, take the proper type of loan, and after that, when the loan and all your deductions are over, it is better that I buy a new car, otherwise I have to pay more tax. So what I do? I sell that car, buy another car. So cars are changing, I am the same. Now the same principle apply here. Be very attentive. Did any one of us ever have the experience that I am growing? Never we have that experience. It is somebody else comes and reminds us. Then we come to know. We all have gone through this experience. I remember when I used to go in school, very bad type of person. So we used to sit in the bus, public buses. And all the students from various schools and all the public also going. So when you are sitting there and suppose there is another girl from senior class. Suppose I am in class 3 or 4 and other girl is in class 7 or 8. So we used to say, Auntie, will you like to sit here? The moment you say auntie to a girl, it is the highest insult. Isn't it? I don't want. Now go further. You thus grow. You do not know that your morphology is changing. Your contour is showing the impact of time. And then suddenly some small little child comes and tells, Auntie, will you give me chocolate? And that time, see, this fellow calls me auntie. Don't call me auntie, call me Didi. You are 98 not out. I'll call Didi. Because our experience is we have not grown. But the body is constantly growing. And therefore, here this is the experience to be analyzed. We are not telling you to believe. No. You analyze your own experience. When we were small children, chabbi chabbi switi switi. Anybody will come, lift up, how sweet. Now, when anybody looks at us, they prefer to go to bathroom, more peaceful place than this horrible Edinburgh. And we are surprised. I don't know. Earlier people used to like me so much. Why they don't like me? Because your makeup is gone. So, as a child, I was there. Childhood has gone. Then the teenage has come. After some time, how long teenage? 13 to 19. So after the teenage has gone, then we enter an age where we are not accepted in the elderly people and we don't accept ourselves to be children. Na ghar ke, na ghat ke. And then we come to the age of 20, 21, 23, 24. Education is over. And then we think of getting married. We get married. After you get married, you are married, acha, baithiye. Immediately the language changes. Because married person cannot be young. And slowly as the time passes, so we all have experienced this. Childhood has come and gone. The teenage has come and gone. The middle age has come and gone. The not so old age has come and gone. Various words we use to deceive ourselves. I always remember one child telling me a wonderful joke. Swamiji, what is the difference between the young age and the old age? I said, old is old, young is young. What difference? No, there is a difference. Tell. Difference is, young age comes and goes. Old age comes and takes. How true. It doesn't go, it takes you. So, like we continue to exist continuously in and through the various modifications of the body, in the same manner, when the body is dropped, we don't cease to exist. Try your best when you can experience your absence. It is not possible. So death is a fear of absence. And see the most funniest part. Suppose you have caught hold of a snake and the snake has bitten you. Because of that experience of bite by the snake, you will have fear for the snake. Because of earlier experience. Do we have experience of death? No. Why should we have the fear of death? Think. There is nothing that can support except foolishness. And for foolishness, there is no reason. For ignorance, there is no reason. A child wrote wrong spelling and the teacher became very angry. Who taught you this wrong spelling? The child told the truth. Ma'am, wrong spellings are never taught. They happen. Foolishness has no cause. Foolishness is the cause because of which everything happens. Therefore, here the Lord says, don't go on imagining that in this war people will be killed, this thing, that thing. Don't worry, you will also die. I always remember one day when Amma came and I was sitting comfortably. Swamiji, what are you doing? Now what time, what reply I will give myself, I do not know. So, what are you doing? I said, I am waiting for death. Swamiji, don't say like that. I said, you are also doing the same thing. You tell me what is your plan tomorrow morning. If I get up, then I will go to work. So every night we all go to sleep with a hope to die. But again we wake up and again start. Every day we have been doing the same thing. And as a result, we have started taking things for granted. In fact, we all are doing only one thing sincerely. Waiting to die. There was one Nepali Amma I met recently in Sikkim. She is 106, 7 not out. And all your medical rules fail. She smokes, she takes click, pan, non-veg, anything you say. Very happy-go kind of lady. And when I went to see her, her children took me. Her children means 75 not out. When she is 103. So when I went there, so Namaskar Chamatkar, Swamiji, when I am going to die? Straight question. So we are all only waiting for that. And the most tragedy is, you cannot die. See? Therefore, धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति तथा देहांतर प्राप्ति धीरस्तत्र न मुह्यति. One day one person asked me this question, one Amma, Swamiji, when you are going from here, we are feeling so bad that you are going away. Don't you feel bad that you are going away? I said, Amma, your and my condition is different. Your condition is, I am going from your house to somebody else's house. And for me, wherever I go to my house. How simple it is. When you don't have your house, every house is yours. When you don't hold on to anything in this world, you will never be miserable to go out of this. On the contrary, when you take your life as, suppose you have decided, now this summer is too hot, so we should go to some hill station for a vacation. So when we decide to go to some hill station for a vacation, first, are we frustrated? We are cheerful, we are happy, we are looking forward, we prepare properly, and every day as the day is approaching near and near, we are so inspired. Here I have to go tomorrow. Prepare for your next life. Dekho, you will receive the most beautiful thing in this world. He is death. Those who have received death with a smile on their face, they alone have lived through their life. And those who are living only death, when the death comes, they say, मालूम है क्या है, रोते रहो. Narayan. Therefore, tatha dehandara praptihi dhirastatra na muhyati. Now, the third common sense. This common sense is so simple and so beautiful. I'll read and explain to you next time. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukadukha atma paino nityaha antitikshasva bharata. Here, one principle is told. Principle is, any experience, be it good or bad, there can be only two types of experiences. Good or bad, like we are all sitting here. Those who have come on their own, for them the experience is good. Those who are with, is it a suggestion for me to keep quiet or what? So, those who are pulled to them, it is a terrible experience. So whatever experience you have, good or bad, there is only one thing we have to understand. Every experience begins in time, remains for some time, and concludes after some time. Therefore, every experience, good or bad, is temporary. To become permanently miserable for a temporary experience is not wisdom. Now those of you who are enjoying, don't worry. You have to go again into Bombay and start Dhakka Mukti. And those who are suffering, don't worry. You will be released. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.